Just last week, Metrolinx announced that the Eglinton LRT has been handed off to the TTC. This is after they say driver training has been completed and is a good sign. After more than a decade of delays, busted timelines, political wrangling, and mounting public frustration, a significant milestone has finally been reached in Toronto's transit saga. Metrolinx has officially handed over control of the Eglinton Crosstown LRT to the Toronto Transit Commission. While this might not seem like a big deal or a bureaucratic footnote to any casual observers, in the world of public transit infrastructure, this is a monumental event. It is a real sign that Metrolinx is confident in the completion of the line, although if you drive along Eglinton, there are stations that are still not finished, like at Yonge Street and Don Mills Road. But having said that, it's a signal that Toronto has been waiting for, proof that years after setbacks, missed promises, and head-scratching decisions, the Crosstown is entering the home stretch. Let's be very clear. For a transit project as massive and disruptive as the Eglinton Crosstown, this handoff is more than symbolic. It marks the shift from construction and testing under Metrolinx and its private consortium, Crosslinx Transit Solutions, to the operational phase under the TTC. In other words, it means the project is no longer just a collection of unfinished tunnels, dormant stations, and testing vehicles. It's being prepared as a real, functional transit line that people can use, and that's something Toronto has been desperately waiting to hear. So then why is it that this handoff matters so much? Well, first and foremost, operational responsibility shifting to the TTC means the line is finally approaching readiness. This doesn't mean you'll be hopping on an LRT train tomorrow, but it does mean that construction is effectively done. Systems are, for the most part, in place, and we're now moving into final operational testing and staff training. The TTC now has access to the infrastructure needed to conduct real-world simulations, validate safety systems, and begin service dry runs. This is the final stage before public service launch. Now, some of you may say, well, there's no confirmed opening date, but let me stress that there is no turning back from this point. This is like a plane taking off on a runway where after a certain speed there is no more stopping on the runway, and you have to take off. For Toronto residents who have watched construction barriers along Eglinton Avenue for over a decade, this marks a tangible move forwards. It says that the Crosstown is no longer a concept or a construction site. It's becoming a living part of the transit network. Importantly, this transition shows that Metrolinx, despite all of its previous delays and missteps, now sees the infrastructure as substantially complete and suitable to be run by the TTC. That's a threshold that only comes after rigorous internal inspections, testing, and certifications. Of course, what will come to mind is what happened in Ottawa with their LRT, that was also built by Metrolinx, mind you, and that we don't want to see that happen here. For a project once anticipated to open in 2020, reaching this point by mid-2025 is kind of bittersweet. But while it's arriving 5 years late, it's better than continuing to linger in limbo. Many Toronto residents had begun to wonder whether this line would ever even open at all. But now with the TTC staff being handed the keys, the countdown to service feels real in a way it hasn't in years. But nobody is getting too far ahead of themselves just yet. We're still waiting for a confirmed opening day. As of right now, the only place you can go to get a firm opening date for the opening of the LRT is a fortune teller downtown, and we all know what that's really about. It's called the future for a reason. So then why did it take so long? Well, to understand the importance of this moment, we need to revisit why the Crosstown has taken so long to complete in the first place. The original timeline projected an opening around 2020. So what happened? Well, the delays stemmed from a complex mix of issues, including poor oversight, a fraud of private-public partnership model problems, and I'll have to make a video separately just for that, and technical problems that took years to solve. Crosslinx Transit Solutions, the consortium responsible for building the line, has repeatedly blamed Metrolinx for mismanaging contracts, failing to deliver designed approvals on time, and interfering with the construction process. On the other hand, Metrolinx has pointed the finger at Crosslinx for shoddy work, missed deadlines, and mounting cost overruns. Lawsuits were filed, mediation took place, and through it all, Eglinton Avenue remained torn apart, with residents, businesses, and commuters bearing the brunt of this dysfunction. Certain sections of the line were infamously delayed due to waterproofing failures, unfinished station work, or issues with system integration, problems that should have been anticipated or resolved far earlier in the process. Moreover, the private-public nature of the project meant that every dispute between Metrolinx and Crosslinx became a potential legal quagmire, further slowing things down. Unlike traditional TTC-led projects, which may move slowly but tend to maintain more public accountability, the Crosstown was contracted out in a model that made transparency elusive and blame easy to pass around. This is in short the P3 explained and why it's a problem. This bureaucratic tug-of-war and lack of a clear, unified vision created the perfect storm of inefficiency, and it's why the project remained in the construction phase for so long. In that sense, Metrolinx finally transferring operational control to the TTC is not just a bureaucratic formality, it's a sign that the fog is finally starting to lift. So why should this be a boost to the confidence for the fall opening? Well, the handoff to the TTC sends a strong message. Confidence is building in a fall 2025 opening. While there has been no official ribbon-cutting date announced, the fact that the TTC is now moving in means that Metrolinx believes the line is safe, functional, and nearly ready for service. The TTC will now conduct its own safety reviews, driver training, and operational dry runs. This is not a quick process, but the good news is that it's the final one. The TTC needs this time to ensure that every element, from track signals to platform doors to accessibility features, works seamlessly as it should. This also gives Toronto residents good reason to believe that the Crosstown, long viewed as the symbol of Ontario's transit dysfunction, is about to redeem itself. After all the setbacks, the public deserves to feel confident that the line will open one day. It will work properly, run smoothly, and provide the east-west connectivity it promised for over a decade. With 25 stations stretching from Mount Dennis in the west to Kennedy Station in the east, the Crosstown is expected to be a game-changer for the city's Midtown corridor. It will link to multiple TTC subway lines and GO stations, providing much-needed relief for overcrowded buses along Eglinton Avenue. It's also poised to significantly improve mobility in underserved neighborhoods, offering faster and more reliable travel options than what buses ever could in our congested roads in Toronto. So why is it that this moment matters so much for Toronto? This handoff comes at a critical time for transit in Toronto. The city is struggling with overcrowding, aging infrastructure, and the looming need to modernize and expand the system for future growth. Public confidence in transit governance has been eroded by years of delays on not only the Crosstown but also the Finch West LRT, the Scarborough RT replacement, and now the early stages of the Ontario line. Metrolinx, in particular, has been the target of fierce criticism for its opaque decision-making and project management woes. By handing over the line to the TTC, an agency that, for all of its faults, is more directly accountable to the city and its residents, Metrolinx is taking a step back and letting transit professionals do their jobs. That in itself is cause for cautious optimism. Furthermore, this moment opens up an opportunity to reset the narrative. The Crosstown has been a punchline for years. Now, it might finally become a showcase. If the TTC can successfully get the line running, that is, and if it performs well, this could restore some trust in the broader transit system. It also gives other upcoming projects like the Ontario line a higher bar to clear in terms of accountability and execution. There's still work to be done, obviously. The TTC needs time to complete its testing protocols. Staff need to be trained. The public needs clear information about how the line will operate, what fares will be accepted, how it will connect to other... Oh, fuck that shit. While it's tempting to remain cynical after so many delays, this handoff is the most concrete evidence yet that the project is nearing completion. In the grand scope of Toronto's transit history, this could be remembered as the moment the Crosstown turned the corner from disaster to deliverable. So as the TTC begins its final preparations, Torontonians have reason, finally, to believe that the light is at the end of the real tunnel, so to speak. The Eglinton Crosstown LRT, a project that once felt like a never-ending joke, is now poised to become the vital east-west spine of Midtown transit. And while its arrival is late, over budget, and with plenty of political baggage, it's still something Toronto desperately needs. For the first time in a long time, there's hope that it's almost here. Then we will have to see how it goes and if it actually delivers on its promise for years to come. Let's not forget that this is pretty much almost the same price as if it were a subway, if we're honest about it. Sure, this will be great to have, but at the same time, I'm a bit worried about the future in terms of how useful this line will be long term. Let's hope that they will soon get serious about extending the Shepherd subway line in both directions. It sure won't be the case that the Eglinton LRT will be the end-all be-all. In a decade or two, the Eglinton LRT will also probably be at capacity, so I would say it's time to start extending the Shepherd line now. Otherwise, that may be a little bit too late as well. At this point, they are still trying to figure out whether or not the Shepherd subway line should be extended first eastwards or westwards. This seems silly. It should be extended both to the east and the west right away. We desperately need that connection between Shepherd and Shepherd West Station. In any event, as far as the Eglinton LRT is concerned, at the moment, it is now not a question of if the line will ever open, but just a matter of when. I hope that you liked the video. If so, please give it a like. If you're not subscribed and want to be notified of new videos that are released, please click on the Art Toronto button here. This is the video that I would recommend for you to watch next, and I'm sure that you're going to love it. Here's the playlist for all of the latest in transit news and views that you're going to find very informative and interesting. And finally, here is the latest video. Thanks for watching and happy transiting.